Hi, this is James Corrigan. This is the second video in my series in preparation for my EP dropping April 18th, Old Conversations by James Coe. Check it out when it's out. And this video is about predisposed opinions. And what I mean by that is going into something with an intent to either like it or dislike it, primarily in like subjective mediums, if you want to call it that, subjective mediums. So art, really, arts or sports. And what this comes from initially, like historically, it would be like if you knew someone, you were biased towards them. If you knew someone in a band, and you saw them perform, you would say that they were good, even if they were all right. If they were all right, you know, you'd exaggerate how good they were, and to them, and sometimes even in your own view, you want to root for them, you want to like them. It's part of the brand. It's part of the mystique of a performance, maybe like of a performer. Look at like Playboy Cardi. Like everyone, like you want to either dislike or like him because of how he portrays himself. It's a very new thing in some ways, and by new I mean like really since the 1960s. Because before that, there wasn't as much information you could learn about someone unless you knew them, and that's why I think like now there's definitely like an obsession with like being right with the critics, being against the critics, you know, what type of person you are you pretentious or not? And that comes from wanting to have the right opinion, which leads people to predisposed views of artists. This isn't unique to Gen Z, but it's very much something that exists heavily within like millennials and onward. And that's the idea of aesthetic or like Pinterest philosophy. And the reason why I'm calling it that is like you'll see on like Pinterest, like certain mood boards or something that exists is trying to set a tone for someone, right? Maybe it's an outfit with certain album covers in the back, or it might even have like a Che Guevara t-shirt, or even maybe a quote from a philosopher like on white text on a black background. And it's usually like, you know, like Camus or Sartre or Nietzsche, something that gives people, you know, this sort of like excuse of detachment. It's almost cool, an aloofness. And I don't think that's wrong, because maybe those people do hold those opinions. I don't know. I mean, I don't think people really take it to heart when they see it online, an aesthetic post on Instagram or something. I don't think that's like wrong to do or post even. But I do think it leads people to having predisposed opinions. What's aesthetically cool to like about something, you know? Like, I watched the movie The Crow, and I like certain things with a goth aesthetic, so I liked the movie. It's not a very good movie, but I liked it regardless. And I don't think that's wrong. I think if you're liking something, you're enjoying it, that's good. I think we'll also see that a lot with, like, children's media, the way people perceive children's media, in that, like, you'll see a movie like Paddington, where it was, like, Paddington 2 was, like, the one that critics loved, and it was considered to be a perfect film. And all of a sudden, there was this swing, I think, culturally, and around the same time, of like, it's okay to like children's media as an adult, and that should be embraced. The perspective is really just, oh, if it's quality, it's quality. But then at the same time, you have like the opposite side people, which is that it's children's media, it's inherently limited, it can't be enjoyed. And I don't think either group is 100% in the right. It is limited being children's media, but in the same way like any film is limited. It's kind of like having your favorite movie be a horror film. It's not wrong at all. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like there's certain parts of the genre that you know are going to be there no matter what, pretty much. The goal is still the same. The goal of a children's movie is to appeal to children. The goal of a horror movie is to scare you. Now, there can be many other messages. I don't want to demean that. But I think that's really why like there's these predisposed opinions about it, and why there are groups of people that are so extreme on it. I know this is talked about a lot online when it comes to like music with critics, or like just people's opinions online. And I've talked about this before. You want the reassurance that your view is the correct one. It's you know, like the cool one, the prestigious view to have. Real rap fans enjoy this type of rap. Real rock fans enjoy this. Real metal fans, I think they're probably the worst online. It's all about having a predisposed opinion to like something, and that being reassured by the critic. And I see this the most with music because the day an album drops, there's always going to be people saying mid. If it's a big artist, there will be people online swarming saying it's mid. Mid hasn't even, like, it's been a term now for a while, but it's still being used almost exclusively now when an artist drops. Lil Uzi Vert dropped a bad album recently. I don't think that's like a super hot take. I didn't really see anyone who liked it. I mean, I'm sure there were, but people were calling it mid the moment it dropped, and it was like some like very large amount of songs. It was a long album, but still people were calling it mid. It's like, how do you listen to that body of work and have an opinion that quick? It was Predisposed. They knew they were going to call it mid because they thought Pink Tape was mid. They like Uzi back in 2017, and that's all they want to hear, and that's fine. They can just listen to that album. But the idea of coming into it with an opinion is so emboldening, you know? You know going into it that you're going to have the right view. You can't do that politically, really. Because, like, you should, I guess, take every position by itself, you know? Inform yourself. But at the same time, if you knew that there was one ideology that you can fall under that just no matter what was going to have the exact perfect solution, knew what to do, you would have that opinion. In conclusion, I really just want to say that, like, if you like something, you like something. If you don't like something, you don't like something. The best way to go into something is blind. Don't think about discourse. Discourse is something for after. Discourse used to be after, the public forum back in Greece, you know? And everything's trying to recreate that now. It's like the guise it's under, like that's what Twitter originally was, right? The public forum. Or I guess like Reddit was meant to be too. But I don't know how accurate any of that is. Because everything's being done simultaneously. If there was like a delay on posting things, maybe that would be better. I don't think there's a real solution. I don't think there needs to be a solution necessarily. I think it's just happening now more openly too. Like, it obviously was happening before. If you read a book and you were in the South, like a Faulkner book, you would like the book because you were from the South back then, because there was nothing else to like. That was the only thing really that you felt might have been representing yourself at the time. And I think that still happens now, just to a lesser extent, but it happens more within like online niche communities. I think when you look in like the 80s, there would be like cultures like club culture, goth culture, all of that. It was very about, you found a group of people and you had to participate. There were gatekeepers, so you had to enjoy certain things. You had to, at the very least, feign that you enjoyed it and engage with it and read certain things and watch certain things in order to be like in that culture. I don't think that was the worst thing. It definitely led to a lot of predisposed views, but that could honestly help people. I think now it's definitely like forcing people to like stuff by like listening to something over and over. Like if you don't like an album and you listen to it 8 times trying to enjoy it, maybe you do enjoy it by the end, but it's just because of familiarity. It's not something that I don't think should be like applauded or rewarded, of like forcing yourself to like something. It's not how art was meant to be. If you don't like it, that's okay, even if critics like it. If you like discussions like this, you should subscribe, maybe leave a comment of what you want me to talk about. Check out the EP coming April 18th, Old Conversations, James Coe.